we're being recorded and live streamed.
You're live.
Okay, let's call the meeting to order for the Planning Commission. And the first order of business is to approve the agenda and the minutes from the October 20th meeting.
So move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion, changes, corrections? Motion to approve the agenda and minutes for the October 20th meeting? Agenda for this meeting. We did that. All in favor?
Oh, excuse me.
Aye.
I'm sorry. What, the Sirny, or that, the Simi, how's up, Dylan Simi, that's not going to happen tonight, right? You told me that they was withdrawn.
Yep,
Correct.
That is correct.
Okay. I don't know if you want to reflect that in the,
it's
Yeah.
corrected on
oh, I don't have that, I'm
the new
sorry.
agenda, so.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor of approving that?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Okay, Tim, did you have,
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and that actually was one of them, even though it is reflected on the agenda, and we have posted that to as many people as we could. We do know that there were a lot of people who are interested in viewing tonight or attending tonight with regards to the night sky request for rezone conditional use permit. And I just wanted to make sure everybody knew, even through the live stream, that request has been withdrawn in its entirety. It is completely off the table. And so that is not going to be discussed tonight. And then also, if there are people who are waiting to hear any discussion about the Mortensen case, that also has been now tabled to the January 12th meeting. So there will be no discussion on that case tonight. That case is tabled to the 12th of January. And the last announcement, and certainly not the least, is I wanted to introduce our new zoning administrator, Neva Maxwell, who hails from the neighboring county, Lake County. She started, well, this is her 2-week mark here, so we've been working to get her up to speed. She's been in this job before in the other county, but it's just getting used to the Cook County way is what we've been doing. So we welcome Neva, and she will be then handling all of the public hearings and requests from here on.
nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, we'll move on to the old business of the Rita's Grandview final plat.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. This one, and I'll spare, I'll just give a kind of a synopsis of the history and the fact that this had come up and was originally done in 2006 and was approved, went through, but was not recorded. And so the timeline lapsed. It needs to be recorded within a certain time frame, otherwise then the approval goes away. And so it did not meet that time frame. And so it came back again this fall. And it was heard before the Planning Commission, and I will pick up at the Planning Commission review. Let's see here. Yep. The transition from the current standard plat and its reduction to from 12 to 8 residential lots. And Chair Fuhr opened the meeting to the public. The applicant indicated that he didn't have anything to add, suggesting that it was in line for an uneventful preliminary plat approval. Mr. Droyer's surveyor, Charlie Traval, stated that the number of Henschey's comments, the county surveyor, was not out of the ordinary and was not unusual for the preliminary plat. Moreover, he suggested they would be addressed in the final plat submittal. Commissioner Machenbacher inquired about the declaration and covenants and whether there would be any limits on VRBOs. And Mr. Droyer responded, indicating that this would just be a normal R1 plat without the covenants and such like that, and without allowances identified. All the allowances are identified as per the ordinance in terms of the permitted and conditional uses for the underlying zone district. With no further comments, Administrator Lane reminded that the applicant of the corrections needs to follow up to the preliminary plat review, that there is a 1-year window to move from the preliminary to the final. And Commissioner LaBoda then offered the motion to approve the preliminary plat, which was seconded by Commissioner Trefel, and it was approved. This went to the County Board of Commissioners on September 14th and was approved without any modifications or changes to that. After submission of the final plat documents, Wayne Henchy was provided a copy of that for final review, and you have the copy of his comments, and those comments have been incorporated into this final plat. So this is, and the comments, or the final plat adjustments have been supplied to the county recorder's office and all of the other offices and parties that are indicated in the ordinance to go ahead and review the final plat. I have heard no further comments with regards to the plat, so this is just submitted to you for approval of the final plat.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the final plat?
I'll make that motion, Chair.
Is there,
I'll second that.
okay, motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion or questions about this? Anybody have questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to new business. LaBoda Enterprises request to amend the existing conditional use permit.
Madam Chair, I'll be recusing myself for that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. This is a request for an amendment to the conditional use permit to establish a wash plant facility to the existing gravel pit. The gravel pit was permitted in 1995 by the County Board of Commissioners, and the pit boundaries are contained within 3 parcels comprising of 160 acres. The property is contained within the FAR1 and FAR2 zone districts. The gravel pit operation on the property is allowed under the Board of Commissioners resolution. Resolution 9539 was amended in 2015 to allow for an expansion of the open area of the pit from 2 to 5 acres. An amendment to the conditional use permit was also issued in 2020 for 5 years for a hot mix asphalt production. The wash plant facility proposed by this gravel pit would utilize 3 ponds to recirculate the water for sorting the aggregate material on the site. Yulin Construction will operate the wash facility in the near future, with LaBoda also carrying on washing operations in the later future. The total of amount of material proposed is to be processed is less than 100,000 tons per year, or less than 42 production days per year. The operation time proposed is seasonal from May 1st to May 15th from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. There are also 2 monitoring wells proposed. Mr. LaBoda has been monitoring the groundwater with existing monitoring wells over the 2020 and 2021 season. The application materials include technical review from Stantec for the potential groundwater impacts of the operation, and refer to the memo enclosed from Land Use Specialist Mitch Travis for the wetlands analysis. And Mitch Travis is actually joining us tonight for any further discussion or questions that you might have relative to that. The LaBoda Arrowhead Trail gravel pit is situated on the 3 parcels of 160 acres. Gravel resources on the site are the result of glacial outwash actions, leaving the deposition of a variety of mining resources, including bedrock boulders, mixed aggregates, sand, and clay. Hydrology is the predominant feature of the landscape. Wetland scientist Wayne Henchy described the natural topography, including a north-south esker, allows flow in a northerly and northeasterly direction across the property. Land Services Wetland Authority Mitch Travis added that this direction of flow appears linked to a direct superficial water connection to the Irish Creek. The southern half of the delineated area also shows a direct superficial waters to be connected to the Swamp River. The pit was first permitted in 1995. From then until 2015, it remained under the ownership of Clarence Kemp. In 2015, Mr. Kemp entered into a 5-year contract for deed agreement with LaBoda Enterprises. The final CD payment is scheduled for August 6 of 2020. As a component of the contract for deed, the LaBodas and Mr. Kemp sought modifications to several conditions attached to the resolution. In part, modifications were intended to utilize more of the site's resources, but also facilitate pit expansions. Conditions amended as a result of the 2015-53 included wetland delineations for each of the 3 phases of mining, condition number 2, an establishment of a static water level, condition number 3, a 12.5-foot protective buffer at the wetland upland surface interface, and an expansion of open area from 2 to 5 acres. Condition 6, and retention of topsoil, condition number 10. As required by condition 2 of the amended permit, wetland delineations were conducted in 2015 and 2018. Of the 116.6 acres delineated, 32.51 acres, or 28%, were identified as wetlands, including a variety of herbaceous and woody wetlands. See the Henchy-Letterly delineations. The 2020 IUP request includes 2 additional amendments of the resolution for the allowance of a hot mix operation and expansion of the open area allowance from 5 to 20 acres. 13 letters of notification were sent to adjoining property owners at the time of this narrative preparation, and no comments have been received by Land Services. The applicants are here to be able to speak to it, and as I indicated, Mr. Travis is also here to be able to speak to the wetlands issues.
Mr. LaBoda, do you want to speak any further?
At this point, I just would like to point out myself, Scott Cairo with Hewlin Brothers, and Brett Ballavance from Stantec. We're all here for any continued discussion or questions that you may have on what we're proposing.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak regarding this operation? Okay. We'll close it for public comment and ask the board if they have questions and comments.
My only question would be, has there been any problems with the existing permit, that the operation of the permit, that have required remedial action, that have come to the county's notice? The gravel permits used to run were looked at every year.
Right.
Are they still done that way?
Madam Chair and Commissioner Kuckler, we do still do the annual pit reviews. And what we did this year is we waited a little bit because we wanted to get Neva online to help and get her more associated with the gravel pit operations and such. So those are and have been initiated. And each of the years we've gone through and done a review of the pits to make sure that they.
What I'm interested is the history of this has been. There have been no issues with compliance or with the maintenance of the pit or any of those kinds of things. I mean, in the past, we've had some, gravel operations where there have been problems. Some of them get corrected. But, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that, it goes to the responsibility shown to run the operation the way it should be.
Right.
Yeah.
May I answer that, or?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Directly, no. We have had some conversations come up that we've worked closely with Bill and Mitch on site to deal with anything that has come up. And for my part, I believe we have, and in our reviews, we've had no issue. So.
Yeah, I would agree with, I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn. I would agree with what Charlie says. I mean, yes, there have been minor adjustments and, asking them to follow points of their conditions, of their conditional use permit. Nothing, I would say, that is extremely out of the ordinary.
Tim?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to add in that we had discussed this internally and with the applicants before, and we had expressed that really the primary concern that had been expressed over the site was the wetlands and any impacts on the wetlands and the water resources, the superficial water resources. And we believe with the engineering work that's been done that has satisfied those concerns to a great extent.
The question I have, is this is there a time frame in operating this, or is it an indefinite?
The intent would be that it would be ongoing with the pit.
Okay.
And that's where, the discussions we had with staff, the real concern is really being able to monitor, the water. Monitor the groundwater table in the source pond and make sure that we're not, having too much drawdown, of that water that would impact the wetlands. Right now, our existing permit conditions continue, so our monitoring wells will be moved, but reinstalled to reflect the accurate monitoring of these ponds to make sure that we're not
Okay.
drawing down too much water. And our hope is to continue to work closely with Mitch and Neva on determining what that actual on how much drawdown is a reasonable amount.
Okay.
So,
Any other
And-
questions from the board?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Discussion, Tim had his hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was only just going to add that we do still and will continue to utilize that tool of the annual review. So if anything does come up, we do have that review, and we can revoke if it ever comes up as any kind of an issue. So as opposed to other kind of conditional uses that are out there, the gravel pits are most reviewed of those on a continuous basis.
In my previous time on the board, we did that like once a year, and all of them came in, and
Yes.
we went through them all and addressed those issues.
Yes,
You know, so that's going to continue with this.
Yep.
yes.
Have there been any comments from neighbors? How far are the closest neighbors?
Oh,
Nearest
God.
neighbor's about a mile.
Yeah.
Real close
Okay.
to a mile. And then the nearest neighbor after that's 5 miles or something. It's
Yeah.
a long way from anybody.
Is there one, where's the nearest one in a mile?
Linda Newman's Points Unknown.
Oh, is that close? It
Is about a mile.
seems like it's farther,
Yeah.
but
Okay, if hearing nothing more to discuss, is there,
I
all
made a
in favor?
motion to approve.
Yeah, we've approved it, motioned. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I think that's all we have. Legal seminar. It says legal seminar, Tim.
Oh, yes, thank you, Madam Chair. It is time. We were looking to try to schedule up to have the land use attorney to come up for some legal training. We were trying to get that in last year and such, and just because of the whole COVID thing, it just didn't really work for us. But we were like to try to do that again. With John Schlote now departing the board as well. We have 2 positions open, so we want to try to get those filled, but we're looking at the February-March timeframe, so it's a slower timeframe, and we can do that in the wintertime. We still, I guess it's going to be dependent upon what the conditions are. They have done those things virtually, but they like to do them in person so that the flow of questions is a whole lot better. So I just wanted to put that out there, that you can look for the land use legal decision-making seminar or workshop to be in the February-March timeframe. And that will be here.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's like a half day or something?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone have anything they'd like to put on that workshop? And maybe think about it. I might like to talk about the no service zone.
Yeah, I have a couple issues too. I mean, will there be, will we get enough advance notice so that we could relay our issues to you to
Yeah.
have them put on so that they have a heads up to know what to kind of expect is?
Absolutely, Madam Chair and Commissioner Cuckler. We will, I would encourage anybody who has any, as they come to mind, go ahead and forward me any of these issues. And if you're anything like me, I have an idea, it's great, and then I'll forget it before I send it in if I'm waiting for an invite. So if you have an idea, send it to me anytime, but we will have plenty of initial notice sent out. And with that notice, there will be that prompting of issues, and I know Jay Squires, who does come up and does the training, he likes to base it off of the local issues at hand. So that it would be a good thing for us.
Is he from the land trust?
Minnesota County's Insurance Trust.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, we're adjourned. Jerry?
Why don't you put a hammer?
I don't need a hammer.
Just in case somebody's fingers.
You don't have your own hands.